Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmeet Singh, and I lead manufacturing for Infosys. I'm delighted to be here with Rhonda O, who's the CIO at Stanley Black Decker. Tremendous respect for the company, and thank you so much for joining us, Rhonda.
Thank you, Jasmeet. It's great to be here.
So, Rhonda, I know we are at this beautiful manufactory and going to be taping on Infi TV. Let me start with first about Stanley Black Decker. It's a company with a noble purpose. It's been around for 175 years, so very, very rich history. Talk to us a little bit about the purpose at Stanley Black Decker.
Yeah, thank you for asking, and this is a wonderful facility. Yes, we were founded in 1843, so actually over 175 years old, and our purpose is for those who make the world. And if you think back to 1843 when our company was founded, it was a hinge and bolt manufactory right here in New Britain, Connecticut. And so very apropos that we're here today, and that purpose still lives on in our company. As you know, but I'm sure the viewers may not know, we're in broadly three major business segments.
Right.
We're number one in tools and storage, we're number two in security services, and we're a global leader in engineered fastening. So an array of businesses and franchises where we are for those who still make the world after 175 plus years.
When I was reading about the company as well, I saw Jim Lorry, who's a phenomenal CEO at the firm, talks about the Vision 2222. And I know underlying all of that is the Stanley Fulfillment Service System,
Yes.
which is the SFS. I guess you're in the 2.0 or 3.0 version. But would love to hear a little bit more about the vision itself. How did that come about? And the underlying framework that makes it possible.
Absolutely. So not only do we have a strong purpose that unites our organization and our company, but we also have a very strong goal, and that is that we're a growth company. So we were about $14 billion last year in that fiscal year, and our aspirations are to be a $22 billion revenue company by the year 2022.
Wow.
Now, to do that, we have a multi-pronged approach. We're very much about what we call performance, and that is delivering to not only our financial goals, but our commitments to each other, and also about innovation.
Right.
And innovation not only in the products that we are delivering to our customers and the services that we deliver, but also innovation in how we perform our tasks, so our process innovation. And then last but not least, and very much tied to our purpose, is corporate social responsibility. Now, to do all of that, we do have the Stanley Fulfillment System, which has a long history. There was a version 1.0 that was very much focused around our manufacturing roots, about being lean and pursuing working capital turns, very much in that performance driven culture.
Right.
But since that time, we've expanded it to really encompass all of the things that we believe we need to have in place and to excel at in innovation and corporate social responsibility. So when you think about the Stanley Fulfillment System, we've added things like digital excellence, commercial excellence, breakthrough innovation, and of course, still have the roots of our Stanley Fulfillment System, which now includes all the great things we're doing in this facility around Industry 4.0.
Wow. So in a way, the SFS is also evolving and is flexible enough so that you can actually build on it as well over the years and as things change.
Absolutely.
There is so much of innovation that is happening in this area as well, and has happened all through the number of years that you have been in existence. But it's not only this area, it's also all the others. So, can you give us a little bit more color in terms of the innovation and the kind of things that are actually powering that part of it?
Yeah, so when you I talked about the Industry 4.0 initiatives that we have underway, where we're taking our 130 plus manufacturing and distribution centers around the world,
right,
and using technology to optimize those. Yeah. They've traditionally been standalone facilities that did a phenomenal job, but we understand that with breakthroughs in cloud and IoT and other technologies we can bring to bear there to really deliver on that performance value that we have as well. Another key area that's hugely important and we recognize is data and analytics.
Right.
And I like to think of data and analytics as at the core of almost everything we do. It's the new capability area. It's no longer the functionality of each application or each product per se, but the data that we're able to collect, classify and analyze.
Right.
That's
Data is the new oil, as the saying
There's
goes.
a great-
And certainly in this connected kind of enterprise, connected tools, connected things that are there everywhere, there is a lot to be said for data and analytics as well. It's beyond just the technology. Anything in terms of how that is being put to play from a business perspective for the end consumers and the businesses that you serve?
Yeah, so we realize that it's super important to not only know our customers, which may be some of our distributors and resellers,
Right.
and really serve them well, but it's also important to understand our end customer
Right.
and understand how they use our tools, how they think about our tools, what are their impressions.
Right.
And so our focus is turned, I wouldn't say it's turned from, but it's turned to also include
Right.
not only serving our direct customer appropriately and optimally, but also getting better insights into what our end users demand and require, and making sure we're completing that 360 loop.
Sure. So
And data is the fuel to make that happen.
Right. So in a way, it's directly to the end customer. You are able to get closer to them because of this tapping into the information that you are now able to gather.
Absolutely, and it requires partnerships in this entire ecosystem.
Right.
No longer can we do everything ourselves and do
course.
everything internally, but we need to tap into and leverage those partnerships with our distributors, with our customers, with our partners and suppliers.
Right. So that gives me a good segue into specifically your role. I mean,
Yes.
you are the CIO at Stanley Black Decker. Obviously, the company has gone through changes, and there are a lot of opportunities as well as challenges that you have faced. Just give us a little bit of an insight in terms of how technology has changed for you and how your role itself has changed at Stanley Black Decker.
Yeah, so I'm happy to take you through a bit of my history.
yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
seven-year history, but when I think about the IT function at Stanley Black Decker, it had traditionally been vertically integrated with
Right.
each of the businesses. And as we came in and started thinking about data at the center, connectivity throughout the enterprise, it began to make sense to bring all of that asset, if you will, because I do think of the IT and the technology and the team that we bring to bear to our enterprise to be highly valuable. So we brought that all together.
Right.
I call that the centralize and leverage. It was really focused on making sure we were leveraging across all of the businesses the things that they had in common. So that was phase one. Then we had to kind of settle that down. And I call that the reliability and security phase of
Right.
where we begin to focus on cybersecurity and reliability and things like that. We've quickly moved into now a phase where we really want to scale and innovate. And that's where, working with folks like yourself, we realize we can't do it all. We need to be able to democratize IT
Right.
and enable data at the core and connectivity all around these ecosystems
Right.
as a way to take the IT challenge forward.
You talked about the 22 vision. Now, a whole lot of it, I know Stanley Black Decker has been a very acquisitive company, and certainly to meet that vision, it requires, and you've stated it publicly as well, a lot of acquisitions as well. That creates kind of a disparate landscape within the firm. And I can well imagine that, if you had the three kind of businesses all vertically integrated, and now you're looking for the commonality, what does that do and what are the kind of challenges have you seen
Sure.
to bring it all together?
Yeah, so if you will remember that kind of phase three I talked about,
Right.
that reliable and secure phase, that was one of the phases where we began to build out an M&A playbook
Yep.
and an M&A approach that was very much focused on integration and thinking about what was the benefit of the enterprise. We did that as a way to manage risk,
Right.
focus on cyber security and privacy and all of those other things. We continue to evolve that playbook. But there's always this fine line between security and reliability and going fast,
Right.
and we try to make sure we find that right balance in continuing to rev that playbook around
Sure.
M&A.
Now, one of the things, we obviously work with, several companies across industries,
Sure.
and particularly where a whole host of acquisitions, et cetera, have happened, it kind of, gets a number of ERPs in the landscape. There is a rationalization that is underway. There is movement to new technologies such that it also creates a flexible environment for you to actually capitalize on. Are there such initiatives underway at Stanley Black Decker as well?
Absolutely. During that stabilize and secure, we also took on something we called functional transformation at the time, which was very much focused on standardizing, simplifying. I'm sure you've seen similar playbooks at other companies you've worked with as well. When we did the inventory, we had an impressive number of ERPs. Depending on the count, we either had 103 or 104, which when you've done 100 acquisitions over a 10-year time frame, it's not surprising. But were we consciously in that position, or was it a position that we had just evolved to? And I would prefer to consciously be in those positions, and so we took action around reducing that number as we continue to acquire companies. So with the playbook, with the activity to reduce, I'm happy to say we're now at 75, and that's inclusive of the integrations or the additional businesses that we brought on, and we continue the march forward to drive that further down.
Any learnings for the viewers and other companies that they can glean from you in terms of not only the M&A playbook, but also how you have gone about about the journey of rationalizing and some of the challenges that you face and being able to circumvent?
Yeah, I think with knowledge and transparency and a constant focus on ROI, you can galvanize the entire organization and the entire company around the mission. And from tops down to bottoms up, when an organization has alignment, you can really get things done. And I see that play out over and over again. There can be great ideas and great initiatives, but without alignment, without a return on investment that makes sense, it's just a great idea.
There was something that I picked up when you were talking about democratizing IT. Talk to us a little bit about what that means. How do you really democratize IT today at Stanley Black Decker?
Yeah, so I would say it's the next wave of journey as we think about innovation and where we want to be. We've created a North Star that says for the IT role in the company, it is all about democratizing IT. Technology permeates every corner and crevice of the organization. And it also, as I alluded to earlier, there are partner ecosystems out there as well that we want to be able to take advantage of. And if we really understand where, data is the new oil or data is the new engine, data at the center is what IT needs to be focused on, and making sure that data is reliable, it's consistent, it's organized, and that people can have access to it. And then our second most important role is the interconnection of all of these ecosystems in a reliable and secure way. And so that's kind of our North Star. We've got a long way to go to get there. It's still hugely important. If you begin to think about our ERP and application infrastructure as an ecosystem, that we continue to simplify and standardize that, extract the data to the center, and interconnect it all around. So that's how we're thinking about it.
I know that Stanley Black Decker is also very closely involved in the startup ecosystem. There was news recently that I'd seen is bringing all of those pieces together. And certainly, from my experience at least, you folks have had an open mind in terms of bringing it all in together.
Yeah, and you've given me a good segue to talk about how we think about technology at Stanley Black Decker. Like I said, it permeates everything. And because we're all using the cloud, we're all using IoT, we're speaking the same language, but we're applying it in very different ways. And it's important to think about it in multiple buckets. We talk about it in terms of commercial technology, and so we definitely have partnerships with startups on products that we want to bring to market. So that's what we call CT, or commercial technology. We think about the traditional IT or the business process technology that runs the company as BPT, and you're hearing my pattern now, and then also works with the startup community, but to apply technologies internally to improve the processes and the effectivity of the company. The third area is what this manufactory is all about, is our operations technology, and bringing those same technologies through different applications into the manufacturing environment, and ensuring that all of that works seamlessly together. If you think about it, that's creating really 3 different ecosystems. Then you have your partner ecosystems, you have your suppliers, you have all types of things that you want to bring together. Again, data at the center.
So I wanted to go back to the democratizing IT as well. One of the things certainly we have been focusing on is reskilling, learning, and we have always been very big on that. Given the pace of technological change, given what you talked about in terms of understanding of the business landscape, the OT aspects of it, the Industry 4.0, what are your thoughts in terms of how you're equipping your organization and beyond, right? I mean, beyond the IT organization itself, from a learning, from a reskilling, and tapping into that entire ecosystem as well?
Yeah, so it's a huge challenge to keep up with the pace of
Right.
technology change and to ensure that our employees, our partners, everyone is equipped. So I'd say number one, we need to make sure we continue to leverage. That's number one. Number two is, as we think about our internal employees, is we need to learn.
Yes.
We need to almost forget and then relearn,
Yes.
so that we can continue to enhance our skill. We call that, lifelong learning.
Yes.
And are focused on that for our entire employee base. It's a huge commitment for us.
Yes.
And for our leadership team to ensure that that kind of focus in lifelong learning is not only expected, but fully supported from the tops down.
The other thing I've noticed, particularly with working with you, Rhonda, is you're very big on diversity. Certainly, you have a very diverse team as well within the IT function, but even beyond. It's something that even we as a company, hold dear. But would love to hear your thoughts in terms of how do you make that happen, particularly in a manufacturer, right, in an industrial company.
And I wouldn't say I've got it all figured out just yet, but it is.
You're doing good.
It is front and center, and it is a key focus area. But I like to think about diversity not only in the things that you can see,
Yes.
but in the things that you can't see. So cognitive diversity and things such as that.
Right.
And the most important part of diversity is once you attract it, how do you retain it? And I think that that's one of the things that I strive to do better and better every day, and that is to be inclusive. Ask opinions, understand that there are going to be different ways that people participate in the decision making and in bringing ideas to the table, and see that as a good thing, not as a thing that's slowing us down because you're not thinking it the way I am or getting to the answer the way that I am. So being very inclusive, and so that's kind of how focus on the diversity that you can see, the diversity that you can't see, and then an inclusive approach to make sure you retain all of that diversity as well.
You are very big on sustainability. You're on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, as are we. Would love to hear, again, your thoughts around what that means for the company.
Yeah, well, if you take it all the way back to our purpose for those who make the world, and as we think about the future makers in the world,
Right.
And what's important with climate change and all of the other variables that are there, very proud of our approach to corporate social responsibility and the many areas in which
Yes.
we're focused to move that forward. And the recognition that we've had has been phenomenal, and very proud of what the company's
It's
doing.
great to see that. That means a lot to us as well. Now, last question.
Okay.
This is outside your role at the firm. You are on the board of Flowers and Foods. What does it mean to be on a board of a fairly large, it's a $4 billion flowers and foods company. What are you able to bring to that firm based on your experience at Stanley Black Decker? And similarly, your experience or learnings from there that you're able to bring in back into the company.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it when I took the role as a board member at Flowers Foods. But I think boards are dealing with some of the same things that companies are dealing with around diversity, around technology, permeating everything they do. And that's the reason I believe I'm there, is that the diversity of thought. And the bringing technology and technology strategy and things of that nature into the equation. What I've learned is that sitting on a board, I now understand better the expectations of our board. So now, have you ever completely figured that out? Probably not. They're all dynamic organizations with very different nuances. The other thing I've come to appreciate is just what it takes, the amount of effort it takes to be a public company. And that it's you can get so narrowly focused in your role, and what may seem broad and may seem it's keeping you busy every day. But when you step back and think about the requirements and the compliance and just the complexity of what it means to be in a public company, huge learning from that experience. I can then bring that back and really put more in perspective why we do some of the things that we do and why they're so important, and really begin to connect the dots. And as we know, and I hate to keep coming back to purpose, but when you can understand the connection to why you're doing something and why it's important, it makes it much more meaningful,
meaningful, yeah.
and much more important.
Well, thank you so much, Rhonda, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you on Infi TV. I want to thank you. With whatever you have communicated, it's apparent that you're an asset to Stanley Black Decker as well as to Flowers and Foods, and we hope to leverage your experience and expertise at Infosys as well.
Well, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you
a
so much.
pleasure being here.
Appreciate it.